So are you able to hear me now? Okay. Yeah, so before I start answering your questions, okay, so first I would like to ask basically whether you have any questions regarding the revision in grading scheme, okay. So basically what I have added is continuous evaluation, which is 10%, and that is similar to that you see in online courses, you know. So you do some you go through the video, then you have to answer questions and you continue the video like that. So consider like that only. However, it will not be in the video itself, it will not be after every video. It will be like after one chapter or something like that, you know, or maybe after 1 week or something like that. Yeah. Also remember that we also have to give a lot of time on doing that. So it's not unlike the lecture, the actual classroom like classes. Here I have to spend a lot of time. So first record it, then have to process it, finally upload to YouTube and a lot of things. It takes a lot of time. Yeah. Similarly, setting up question is not enough. We also have to code, basically go and write and all those things. So it takes a lot of time. So that's why it's a very time consuming method of teaching, online teaching actually. But we are experimenting first time. And that's why I'm trying to improve basically the online. In online classes, the problem is you cannot force attendance. Yes, although we have 75% attendance rule, and that works to our advantage. You know, I typically I I enforce that. Yeah, and because of that, I have seen that those students who are regular, meaning that close to 100% attendance, if you compare their performance with those who have say just 75% attendance, typically those who attend more have higher grades, you know, typically on average I'm talking about. Okay. So basically that's very important. It looks like that you can do just with without attending the lectures, just solving the problems and all those things, but that is actually uh, not true. Yeah, so not true means you cannot be as par with those to attend, because a lot of insight you get basically. So reading the book and actually listening to lecture, there is a difference. Otherwise classroom uh, otherwise distance education would have been, you know, the prime mode of education, you know. So yeah, and that is why the IITs are residential colleges. Yeah, so that is the reason, and that's why 75% is very important. So hence it's important that you attend all the, you see all the lectures as soon as possible, and also you do all the problems. Not only tutorial problems are the bare minimum. those are the questions that I ask that I will solve during the live session. So that also gives you a little bit idea about basically about the chapter, which all things the chapter had, whether you grasp it or not. So it's just a test, your test only, nothing else. But there could be some question which may be coming outside those tutorial questions. There were some questions like some suggestion regarding like giving you tutorial problems which would be like objective type or numerical type, the way the type of questions you have been getting in your exams. But see, I'm reiterating it that your objective is not here to just pass exams, so objective is the long-term picture we have to see. So some of you will be actually sticking to this the core engineering, so for them solving the real problems will be very important. Thus some of you may switch to some other kind, maybe robotics and all. So for them also understanding this question, this course is very important. Few of you may go to higher studies, so for that also, as a graduate student, you can do well if you have the grasp of fundamentals. So all those is very important, and hence the numerical type, long descriptive numerical types questions are very important. If you solve it, automatically you will be able to also solve the type of questions that you get during these exams. And this exam, I don't have any other option. Otherwise, I would have given descriptive type. So that's the thing. This is not our choice. And consider also like consider with respect to other universities where there is no classes going on at all. So I think we have to look at the positive side, and whatever we have to bear with it. So it's very important. And see, this is a level playing field. Everybody is basically having going through the same thing basically. So it is also comparable. But what I believe is, if you attend all the lectures, do all the tutorial problems, and now a continuous evaluation I have also added, so that will also help you basically to, help you means some way it is force you basically. So I would say in short run, you may dislike it. Some of you, a lot of you are good students, no doubt. So lot of comments I do is not intended for those who are good students. So only those who actually lag behind or don't watch these videos, for them I'm saying. So it may be forcing, and you may hate it in short run. However, in long run, you will always think it is a good thing. And I'm telling you from my experience also, like when graduating students, when they were asked like how to improve, they just said that be tough. So even if we hate it, please be tough, because that is what made us learn more. So this looks like a long-term strategy like this, and teaching job, that's why it's difficult. So at the same time, we want the progress of students after graduating, but at the expense of some kind of dislikes from the students while they are on campus. Only after they graduate, and after 10 years they realize, okay, so after all, that's what helped me. So all those things are difficult. Nobody wants to be disliked, but at the same time we also want to be a good teacher. So here the being a good teacher supersedes everything. So that's the thing. Okay, so I also posted the solution to all the two quizzes, one quiz and midterm exam. As I said, you get different questions. So the question you get is different question, meaning same question but different data you get. So and similar data will be similar, means meaning that it's not that for somebody becomes like let us say over damping, for other data it will be like under damped, like it will not happen. So data is such a way that if somebody gets under damped, everybody gets under damped. This kind of things are, all things are there, so automatic all those things are there. So this is what we can do, because like we have seen which is unfortunate that we have cheating type of things that we never heard during my time at Kharagpur. So now this is becoming a really problem, and hence to check that I have to do all those things. If otherwise there was no in fact need of doing giving different data to others and all this. Yeah, so I also have to be fair to good students also. So I have to make a system such a way good students are encouraged, so not that, so I should not leave any scope of, cheating. I minimize. There may be a still me going on, but I don't know, but minimize as minimum as possible, and that way the good students will be encouraged. They will get good grades, and also that I have to make sure. So always you should have empathy. You look from my point of view. You think about like if you were a teacher, what you would do. So not looking at the short-term objective. Look at the objective. So what is the objective of education or objective of this BTech in mechanical engineering or this course? Yeah, so regarding this, like creating a scheme, the midterm exam, the quiz one, the solution I posted, any question you have, just let me know. Okay? I will answer that, then I will start with the other questions. So no question, guys? Okay. Okay, so I now start answering the question that I got. So okay, it says it's from Asutosh. So in chapter 4, we defined TS as Fs over XS, and now we are defining TS equal to YS or XS or this. Doesn't this make a difference? Okay. Okay, so basically unit does not make any difference, so because if you are saying TS, by the way, TS is not F, it is, we call it XS over Fs, right? So this is output, displacement is output, and force is input, okay? So it's always output over input, yeah? Okay, so that doesn't matter, units do not matter. Okay. Why? Because this is like output over input. So whenever we want output will be automatically equal to the transfer function multiplied by input. So but this it will have different units for different system, right? And but what happens is once you multiply by input, automatically output is in the desired units automatically, right? So here TS is just a like a, you can say it is like coefficient, like a proportionality coefficient. You can say like that actually. Yeah. So you say output proportional to input, and where this is a constant that defines that. Yeah. So automatically it is like a constant you get, right? So like Q is Q is the charge which is proportional to V potential, right? And hence Q equal to CV. Now C is not a real constant, right? It has this is capacitance. It has some units, right? So you call it farad, right? So farad or microfarad, whatever. Farad is the unit. Right? So similarly, in many a lot of things you will find where this is proportional, but this is a constant which have different units. So hence units doesn't matter. We just define output over input. That's it. So any other question? Did it answer your question, Asutosh? Yeah, in a way, what you are saying is whether the TS is universal, we can define either way. But yes, that is true. You can define either way as long as you know what is input, what is output. So you can do it. Yes. So if there is a system, let us say a spring only, let us say a spring you have, right? So you are giving a displacement. You are giving a displacement. You are measuring a force. And in this case, input, if you say input is displacement x and output is the force that you measure here. It can be force here also, right? So okay, so you can say in that case a transfer function equal to x over f. You can do, or you do the Laplace transformation of that. So Ts equal to xs over fs. So this depends on the problem or the system. The system has a definition. Something is being uh, applied and something you are measuring or something is the output. Yeah, so it could be possible, right? So you are moving by some distance and then you are measuring the force, how much you have to, the force with which you are pulling, or force, you can have a, let us say here there is a force measuring device here, and then you have a spring here, and then you are doing this one. So this is a force, so which is output, right? So, but see here, I'm not applying force here. I'm saying x here, right? So I'm not saying the force I'm applying. I'm saying that description I'm giving. Force is what is being measured here. So this is force will be output in that case. Yeah. So here it is a real system where you are going to basically find out. So your example of for like input as a force, input as displacement, output will be force. It is something like accelerator, right? So in a car, so the gas pedal or the accelerator, the displacement is the input, right? And how much the torque generated because of that. Yeah, so this is the output, right? So force is output in that case. So this is a different system. So system will have, any system will have some input and one output, right? So always there is something there. Yeah, so accordingly you have to identify what is input, what is output. Yeah, so for spring mass and damper system, we call this is a like a force will be, we call it like it is a K here and M here, let us say. So here we give, we tell that the force is input. If you give say if K and if you have a displacement as a input, say displacement as an input like this one, yeah. So in that case, you will automatically see that system will be different. It is not exactly that system, you know. So it is the equation for this one becomes mx double dot. Okay, let me erase this one. So if you have like this one, you're applying force 6 here, yeah. So here equation, if you write, it will be same only, mx double dot cx equal to f, like this one only. But what you see here in this case is m is moving with x, you know. So automatically you know how much force you have to apply here. So one, it will be the displacement, the acceleration, you are producing the acceleration as well. Yeah, so automatically force will be equal to, one force will be coming from mx double dot, and since x you know already, so you know that f1, the first component will come here, the second component also you have to stretch this one, so f2 will be equal to kx, like this one. So f equal to mx double dot plus kx. So this is what in this case is basically you know the x automatically, and this will be in fact will be equivalent of two things. One is just a spring that you are moving with x, plus there is a mass m which you are moving with double x. So this is a combination of the two, right? So this is, since x is known already, so there will be two outputs, f1 and f2, and f will be total will be f1 plus f2. So basically, this will be a function of two subsystems. So you can add them together like that. So it is typically you don't study this way. So because you know that if you apply a acceleration like this one, you have to apply a force F equal to m times x double dot, equivalent to that one, right? Here, if you apply x, the force you automatically know k times x. So basically, you don't have to solve any differential equation in this case. Yeah. So do you have to? No, because if x is given only, this is not differential equation. So you get f equal to some value automatically because x is given. Yeah. So that's why it's not interesting. So that's why since x is given to begin with, then you just put x and you get f. Automatically you get it. But still, the transfer function, as you are saying, it can be like that. Yes. So I mean, it can be inverse of the what we have studied. So when we have xs over fs, it will be 1 over ms square. So cs plus k. If it is fs over xs, so then it will be ms square plus cs plus k. It will be like this one. Yeah. But typically, what is challenging is when force is given. When force is given and you have to find out x is challenging, it is a difficult problem. When x is given already, yeah, and then you have to find out f, it is not challenging. You put the x here, you get the force automatically. Okay. So did it answer your question? It was a long answer to a small question. Okay. Okay. Any other question, guys? Okay, one thing just I want to say that we are going to getting into a little bit difficult part of this course, so control system is a little bit difficult, difficult meaning that not for those who study, difficult in a sense, it has a lot more than vibrations, yeah, and it has design path. It has a lot of content that could be applicable to robotics, mechatronics. Some circuits will be there. So all those things typically mechanical engineers they skip, so we don't do, and it is not given in your in your course also, like in the syllabus also. But however, I will just add that because we also want it to be more practical, so those who want, those who are interested in mechatronics and all, so robotics and all, who wants to do higher studies, even if you are not interested now, so it's possible that after working for 4 years you realize, oh, you want to do higher studies. And these days, like this is a lot of stress on automation and all those things, so automatically the mechatronics, all those things is getting bigger and bigger, so, and has a lot of funding also, and it is applicable to many things, like in biomedical application to defense to space, whatever. So all those, so hence little bit of electronic side we will study. Electronic side means the interface, like control of motors and all those things, you know. So and also in your lab also you have that. So finally, what is the use of course if you cannot apply, you know? So that's the thing. So we will do little bit of electronics, you know. So I'm also not mechanical engineer, but just from hobby basically I do microprocessors and all those things. I studied also in the masters. I had one of the courses there. So because of that, a little bit comfortable I am, microcontrollers and those things. So hence I can cover it. But of course, I'm not electrical engineer. But this is a course, control engineering, which is an interface of mechanical or electrical engineering. So I remember that during my PhD at Michigan State University, so one of professor, he's actually very big shot, uh, and he's a student. He was doing masters in mechanical engineering, and then and he was doing project under him, so electric some controls related all those things, and then he did the masters in electrical engineering later on when he went to University of California San Diego for that. So this is so much of sometimes uh, it becomes so interesting that people want to learn everything about it. So go to the other side basically. And this course is such that if somebody wants to go into electrical now, so control system is the one which can take him to the electrical side. You know, so do masters in controls, do masters for example, and specialize in control engineering, and then you can go to electrical side and robotics and mechatronics, all those things. So it's a very important. Hence, I think it's very important that I little bit introduced to electrical side as well. You know, and if you see, it is not much different. You know, so for you, since you have studied the uh, spring mass damper system, and just look at this. I will come back to in the during the lecture also. But if you have mx double dot cx dot plus uh, say this kx equal to f, right? And here also you have output eta. So here you have L, C, EI. So this kind of things we get, right? LR, and you have EI dot plus 1 EI only. So if you see, this is from LCR circuit, and this is from a mechanical circuit. Equation wise, both are same, right? And this gave you lot of insight. Actually, mind it. You don't discount this one. You know, so this one is really gave you lot of mechanical the insight. This is mechanical system, but remember, this is also a mathematical equation. So mechanical system, mechanics, what you observe is what mathematics valid. Both are so much ingrained basically. It's not that mathematics is different from mechanics. Mechanics or whatever we see, physics, whatever we see is a solution of the actual mathematics only, right? So the truth that this is a problem and this is a solution, and this represents a vibration, it is also valid here. And hence, if you say in the mechanical system, if omega n is equal to root over k over n, remember, in this also, there will be something omega n will be will be here 1 over LC, you know, and that's what this gives you the oscillator. You are actually studying the oscillator circuit, and you can design now. You are a mechanical engineer, but you can design oscillator circuit here. You know, so if you want a particular frequency, you can do it, right? Just because you have studied the mechanical system, you understand that. Now you understand C and L are equivalent. This is kind of a loss. R is the one which there is a loss, right? It's a heat dissipation in terms of heat. Here C, the damping, is the one there is a dissipation because of frequency. Just see, both are different system, but they're connected by mathematics, and both have some equivalence. So for you, you have different perspective of that, and you can do basically work on that. In the next class, we will have op amp and all, you know. So and this will also give you, so you must have it. So we will do some circuit based on that also, and that is going to help. We are going to make oscillator, integrator, and all those things, because first of all, you will have a lot of questions in your textbook also. You have this since this book is also for mechanical and for electrical also. There's some electrical examples also there. But the final when you implement, when you are making a quadcopter, let us say, or you are making a robot who is walking like that, then you need to control, right? And how do you are going to control? You will use the chips like integrated circuits only. So you have to know a little bit of integrated circuit, so that you are going to. So integrated circuit means the op-amp will do, just knowledge of op-amp will do. So all those things they will have, but very little bit, only that much which is required. Yeah, so that will make you, like independent in this field. So all those things for your benefit only. And by the way, all these things are in your lab anyway. Yeah. So next semester you have lab in which the first part will be some experiments which will be on vibrations. Yeah. So vibration, all those things I already told. So there will be a whirling of shaft, for example, 1 degree of freedom system. There will be a beam when you like a continuous system. So those things are there. In control systems, you have like motor control and all. So that you have to study. And the second part will be designing your own system. So making something. So there, these things are going to help you. So hence, I will cover. I have been covering all those things which are required for your lab course. And this is happening only because I was also a instructor for the lab last semester, and hence I knew there was a problem because of these things are not whatever in the lab was, most of them they're not are not part of the lecture class. So specifically I added that, so you don't have problem that time. Yeah. So okay guys, so any other question? So today was mostly just to interact you about the quizzes, the midsem exam, and the revised grading policy. So but still you can ask about anything you could not understand. I will reply. So I'm going to post you 3 videos this semester. This week, and then you will also have the assignment towards the continuous evaluation. Yeah. Okay guys, so if there is no comments, nothing, then see you guys next week. Okay, so please watch the videos I'm going to post this week 3 of them. Okay, apart from this one. Okay guys, see you then. Okay, bye, thanks for attending.